I started a tech startup 20 years ago with zero and no knowledge about accounting. I wanted to organize our accounting. I nervously write checks and deposit money to the bank by myself. So all was trial and error, and I made mistakes in filing our taxes that resulted to government penalties. But since we started developing our own accounting software, I had no choice but learn from books and their clients for decades. I believe this podcast episode can help startups and small business owners organize their back office and accounting to avoid the mistakes I made in the past. Welcome to the Digital Transformation Academy. My name is Dennis Hilario and I'm here to help you in your digital transformation journey. Let the show begin.
Hey everyone, welcome to our new episode. Today we are going to be talking about digital transformation in back offices and accounting. So without further ado, let's get started.
Hey, welcome to the Digital Transformation Academy podcast. My name is Dennis Hilario and I give my best thoughts and tips about digital transformation, innovation, and productivity. With me is Fiona. Hi,
Hi.
Fiona. Good morning. It's
Good
another
morning.
Friday. So, yeah,
Yep.
how's life? I think people are gradually, the pandemic is easing out gradually. We're already in alert what? Alert 2, I
Alert
think.
2, yeah. Kids are
Yeah.
out, teenagers can go out. Face shields are finally out of the picture.
Yeah, at last.
I am so happy.
Yeah, I know. And then I think the face to face is gradually,
Coming back
coming back,
also. Yeah.
even in the business
Mm.
side. Of course, in school. Do you
Oh
have
yeah,
like
what does that look like for your business now? That everything.
Yeah, actually that's a little bit challenging at the moment, especially
Mm-hmm.
I'm in the province. But
Yeah.
some clients are really requesting for a face to face. But to me, if it's just a quick talk, I believe practically we still need to do it online
Yeah.
unless it's like a major meeting or a contract signing and whatnot. So I think
Right.
that's the time I'll agree on a face to face because still there's still COVID, I think,
Yeah.
and until all people, especially the children, are vaccinated, then that's the time I can really be or we can be really comfortable in face to face meetings,
Yeah.
right?
It's a whole nother adjusting period for
Mm-hmm.
everyone.
I
But
know
yeah.
because going back to school, man.
Yeah.
You have to buy new clothes, new shoes, and everything. But anyway, at the end of the day, it helps our economy.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, it's a fresh start next year, especially if there's a new president that's coming.
Coming up
Yeah,
also everything's so new.
yeah. Okay, so let's dive right to the topic. So the topic today is digital transformation for your back office and accounting. So we already talked about a lot of stuff in digital transformation from sales, marketing,
Yeah.
operations, digital marketing, online marketing and whatnot. But I think the last episode was about order fulfillment, di ba?
Mm-hmm.
So after order fulfillment kasi, there should be a back office support. No. So the back office support is the admin side and of course the accounting side. No. Human resource management is a little different, which also we talked about a couple of episodes ago because it overlaps operations. No. But this one, somehow there's an interface between order fulfillment and operations and the back office and admin. Diba? You say back office kasi nandiyan yung accounting, nandiyan yung mga supplies, requesting ng mga supplies, request of petty cash,
Yeah.
and those things. No? Okay, but the main reason for businesses to transform their back office digitally is basically to save cost
Mm-hmm.
and control cost, di ba? Kasi of course, operations, sales, they have expenses eh. They need to deliver their services, of course, with financial budget, di ba? So
Yeah.
the job of the back office is to like scrutinize those expenses, the expenditure, is it valid or not, and control it as well so that the business can get more profits,
Yeah.
di ba? Kasi if not, then your profitability will go down, di ba? So, an accounting software or back office software for a small business is a typical challenge then for entrepreneurs, especially when they are just starting. No? So many business owners kasi focus on selling. They just focus on selling operations, but they tend to disregard the back office side. So the first thing that comes to their minds are just to buy an accounting software kasi they think
Mm.
that will solve the problem. But as we always talk about, it will not solve the problem until you fix your processes, also in back office and accounting.
What's back offices?
'Di ba normally if you are say in a retail or distribution business, normally the service delivery are in the field, 'di ba? So the term back office kasi is like if you have a headquarters, 'di ba there's offices there. The back office are the ones supporting the front offices. So if you have retail, a chain of restaurants, those are the front offices. But the back office team that supports the front offices are the basically back office accounting and administration. And also the recording of transactions normally are done in the back office,
Okay.
especially accounting, releasing of checks, preparation of invoice, preparation of official receipts. Unless you're a retail kasi they have point of sale as we discussed before, di ba?
Yeah.
You record actual transactions there. But other transactions not related to sales or customers, then they are being done in the back office. Okay, so probably let's focus more on the accounting side. I also have posted several episodes or posts about accounting, but this is just a quick recap on how to do it. I think the first thing that we you have to do is to structure your accounting process. No,
Mm.
before when you start in your back office. No, the first is number one is to define your ledgers. Okay. Yung
Okay.
ledgers kasi it's a record of various accounts. 'Di ba may purchasing ka, so there should be a purchase ledger. You also have a bank account, you also have a bank account ledger, accounts payable ledger. So those ledgers kasi in definition it's just shows the increase or decrease of the value of the
Mm.
account. For example, if you
Mm.
have a bank account, 'di ba, it increases in value, it decreases in value. So you have to record each of it.
Mm.
Kasi if not, it's very difficult to trace and audit history of transactions.
Where
Especially
is this usually placed?
if you have a software, then ideally you should have a software. You encode the transactions there, in the
Okay.
ledgers, no. But if
Yeah.
manual, you have the traditional ledger. It's like a book or journal that you do your
Mm.
recording, no.
All right.
Yun. So once you have defined those, well, going back pala, there's a term in accounting called chart of accounts. So chart of accounts is basically the whole ledger of your company, the
Yeah.
increase and decrease of value of each account. So one example is your receivables, your fixed assets, your equipment, your computers. Those should be well accounted, no?
Yeah.
Yun. So number two is you also have to define the accountabilities and transaction preparation process. So who will handle the recording of sales? Who will handle the recording of purchases? Who will handle the recording of bank accounts transactions? No, if
Mm.
you're a micro business, normally the owner is the one doing that. But if you have a bigger scale na operations like small and medium sized business, normally there's a control measure to like there's a certain person lang who will do the accounts payable, there's a
Yeah.
certain person who will do the sales, etc. No, yon. And then after, of course, there's also what you call accountability forms. Number
Mm.
three, no, on every transaction there should be a form
Yeah.
produced. It can be printed, it can be paperless. I'm sure nakikita mo yan, the sales receipts that you get from the stores, the vouchers that
Mm.
people use to document the recording of checks,
Mm.
the purchase order form that you give to your suppliers if you are confirming an order, of course, a contract if it's a service. So those documentations are really important and well defined when you process your accounting. No? And then number four is reports. So as a business owner or a manager, what summaries would you like to get?
Yeah.
Like last month, how much is my purchases? How much is my sales? How much is my cash collections last week? How much is my disbursement of checks last month? Something like those.
Mm-mm.
So what you have to define, what do you need, for us to come up with a review and decision making in running your business, because it's really difficult to run a business if you don't have those information,
Right.
diba? So you
So
have
with all these documents, like, are these something you coordinate with the client as you work with
not
them, or is it
necessarily,
internal?
like, the term itself is back office. It doesn't relate to the client, no,
Oh, okay.
normally, no. It's actually just organizing your transactions
Oh,
in
okay.
the back, so that you can come up with metrics,
Yeah.
business metrics, financial reports, and see if you're really, profitable in your business, number one, and what is your financial position.
Mm.
And then the last step is you also have to define an audit process. When you say audit process, kasi yes, you are recording transactions, you are recording your ledgers. If you don't have an audit, you don't have a way that to know or to validate if those records are true.
Yeah.
You have to assign people or separate people. So the ones encoding or processing the transaction should be different from the one auditing, because it doesn't make sense if they are the same person.
Yeah.
Again, as a small business owner, normally the owner is the one doing the audit,
So
and then you
even
have
if you're just starting, this is something you have to do everything, like as you
yes,
have transactions.
yes.
So usually talaga it's the owner who's first like handles everything
For a
if you're
small
starting.
business, yes, a micro
Yeah.
business. But as you hire employees,
Of
then
course,
gradually
yeah.
you'll delegate some of it. But it's important that the audit person, audit team is separate or different person from the bookkeepers or the transaction encoders, no.
Okay.
Yun. Kasi again, the main job of them is to check and balance if the records are true. So those five things are important in as a foundation of your back office or accounting,
Yeah.
no. So now that you have formed your accounting structure or process, the next step is to digitize, di ba?
Mm.
So why would you digitize? Okay. So the main benefit of digitization is the number one, instead of manually writing forms, 'di ba? You can print it out digitally.
Yeah.
Just encode it and print it. So it saves time already. Kasi but magugulat ka, you'll be surprised na a lot of businesses still writes. They still write the form manually, as in
Mm-mm.
handwritten. Yun. So number two, automatic posting to ledgers. Kasi once you encode it in the accounting system, automatic it updates the report. You don't have to
Yeah.
wait
Mm.
for, kasi in traditional way, you prepare the invoice and then you go to another record or an Excel sheet to update the report.
Right.
Di ba? So matrabaho yun. But if you have a system, it automatically post to your ledgers. Number two, you have stricter controls if you have an accounting system.
Mm-mm.
Kasi before, if you prepare a transaction, you can, di ba, if you prepare a record or a transaction, a good accounting software kasi meron siyang approval online. If
Yeah.
you the manager or supervisor or the owner is out of the office, then you can easily approve purchase orders
Mm.
from the accounting system using a mobile phone or a laptop, no? Kasi if not, kung wala nun, then easily the people can disorganize the process. Number four, tax reporting. That's also important. Kasi you can already automatically capture transactions. So hence, you can already generate tax reports automatically. Kasi
Mm.
if not,
In the process of these ba, is there quality assurance like while it's happening
oh
or
yeah,
even
again,
after?
depending on the process. A good
Okay.
process is there's an encoder, a clerk who encodes the transaction, and then there's a reviewer for check and balance if the clerk encoded the transactions correctly,
Mm.
and then post it or approve it.
Yeah.
So para not necessarily the clerk has a motive in doing it. Kasi sometimes talagang honest mistake, no? Nagkamali siya ng
Uh,
amount, nagkamali siya ng date, etc. So ideally there should be a checker. But again,
mm,
if you're lean, if you're saving cost people, then you have to just do a workaround instead of hiring a checker. Di ba?
mm,
Again, another benefit is tax reporting. Kasi if your tax reports are not updated on a regular basis,
yeah.
our government agency BIR, they have a strict deadlines kasi in filing for taxes and paying it. If you are
Mm-mm,
late in generating those tax reports, then you'll be penalized, di ba?
yeah.
So a good software kasi they have automatic tax reporting. Number five, increasing productivity. So since automated na lahat, mas productive ngayon yung tao, mas they can focus on other things that can help the
Yeah.
business more. Lower overhead kasi expenses mo mababa, di ba?
Mm-mm.
So yun, those basically the benefits of accounting software. No, then the last guide or tip here is how can you successfully implement an accounting software. Buying one
Right.
kasi is will not solve it. You really have to strategize in doing it. Ano. Okay, so here naman are a few tips in implementing an accounting software. Okay, so number one is you have to the important step actually is the setup
Mm,
setup steps. So the check I have a checklist here of what you need to have or establish before you implement accounting software. Number one, chart of
okay.
accounts, like I said, a listing of your suppliers. You have to have a listing of your customers, your bank accounts. Okay, then the tax parameters. If you have
Yeah.
VAT, if you have expanded withholding tax, then the accountability forms as well that I mentioned earlier. It has to be
Mm-hmm.
defined properly. Ano ba
Mm-hmm.
talaga yung gagamitin nyo? Ano? And then the accounting entries, what you call accounting entries. On every transaction, what is an accounting entry?
Yeah.
You might need to, research or learn about accounting to understand it better if you're not an accountant. But you can ask
Mm-mm.
your accountant or a consultant if you don't know these accounting entries. No?
Yeah.
And like you said in the beginning of this episode, we have an online accounting course.
Mm-mm.
Check it out at accountingcourseph.com if you wish to learn more about accounting entries. No? And of course, you also have to define the reporting requirements. Yeah. So after that, yeah, you also have to define who are the users who will use the software, and what are their access rights. Then then you have to define how will you process your invoice, how will you process your collection, how will you process your purchases and disbursements. Yung iba kasi kunyari meron pa silang tinatawag na purchase request before they issue a purchase
Yeah.
order. Pero iba walang ganon, yung iba naman they have canvassing muna before, so those things are medyo broad, depending on the
Mm.
size of the company, depending on the industry, iba-iba. So
Yeah. Just
once
going back, how many people usually like has access to that software in a business? Does it depend on the size of the business as well?
depending on the size, but typically on a business with 100
Yeah.
employees, back office mga 5 ano lang yan, 5 users, 5
Okay.
for accounting lang ah. But if
Yeah.
we add up like procurement, admin, it can grow up to 10 to 15 users.
Yeah. Are there features of it that keep it secure also?
Oh yes, so because you can define access rights. This person, ito lang yung ma-access niya. So this
Mm.
person, only the receivables. This person, only the
Oh, okay.
inventory. Okay. But not
Right.
all software has that. No?
Mm.
Some software, kasi like the ones that we have, Hillsoft, they have
Yeah.
that kind of feature. No? Where you can define responsibilities and even approval workflow.
Okay.
The one I mentioned earlier.
That's good.
And then once you define your transaction processing for the software, you also have to define the reconciliation and the reports. So,
Mm-mm.
meron ka ng reports, how will you generate the reports? How will you ensure that there are no unaccounted transactions or no errors in
Yeah.
transaction processing. And then number five, last but not the least, the ultimate purpose kasi of digitizing your software is to have a real-time financial reports. So why would you need the real-time financial reports? So that you can decide early on what to do with certain expense. For example, makikita mo your expense last month is higher than the current the expense this month. If you don't have that information, then you won't change anything, di ba, in the business.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you find out 3 months already before you knew that the expenses has blown up, then you already lost a lot of money
Mm-hmm.
in the past 3 months. But if you have that information now and you saw it not that your expenses are too high, then you can already decide what to do right away. Di ba?
Yeah.
And in effect, you'll have
That's true.
get more profits or profitability
Mm-mm.
blows up. So there's a lot more aspects in admin like petty cash management, handling requests from your employees, something like those. Ano to, labas to sa HR side. HR is a different
Yeah.
topic. But other than that, those are some tips in digitizing your back office and
That's
accounting.
good. Yeah.
You have questions?
One question I have is, what's the process of being able to train employees to use this kind of software,
Oh,
especially if someone's also used to manual?
yeah. That's a good question. Ano? What we normally recommend when we implement accounting software or ERP is that first is during the setup stage, there
Mm.
has to be one person, at least one person assigned.
Yeah.
It's like the champion of the software.
Okay.
So that person will be trained on how to set up, on how to encode transactions, and also the ideally it's the business process owner,
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
the ones who's accountable with, for example, the accounting department.
Right.
So the reason why is that if you involve all employees right away during the implementation, they're all like talking to the vendor or talking
Yeah.
to,
Yeah. Yeah.
there's a lot of inputs and debates that will happen.
Mm-mm.
Because some employees they have their ulterior motive sometimes.
Yeah.
It's good to get the inputs first, no? But
Right.
during the process of testing it, encoding until to the final result of reports, should be done by as that an individual or a team dedicated to software implementation. Then after that, once that assigned person or team has accepted the configuration and then the reports, then that's the time you train the employee,
Yeah.
the end user,
That's good.
on, because some end users kasi they are not involved in other aspects. So why would you train? You
Mm.
just train
That's right.
them according to what they do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's yun because if ever the employee resigns, and then
Mm.
replaced by a new one, I mean, the business will not need to call the vendor for another training because they themselves
Yeah.
know how to do it.
Yeah. That's true. You mentioned earlier that there's a reviewer or a checker
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to transactions.
Mm-hmm.
Is the role also to kind of oversee um full disclosure of everything? Just in case there's people who are dishonest about what they encode, or just
Mm.
has that ever happened?
To be honest, it always happen.
Okay.
It always happens in the business because some, especially in our country, sadly,
Mm.
because I mean, if a person finds an opportunity to, lack of better term, steal,
Yeah.
especially in the front offices, no. If they have
Oh.
the opportunity and then they have the need because they have financial issues, then
Yeah.
normally they grab it. No.
Right.
So that's
Right.
why there's a checker also. That's one of the factors
Okay.
that the checker or the audit team checks if there are missing transactions, even if there are, just like in the government, diba? The government,
Mm.
the government has commission on audit. They are the
Yeah.
ones checking the records of the government agencies, if they are correct,
Right,
or if
right.
there are corruption or graft.
Mm,
Same thing.
okay, that's good. But yeah, I think those are all my questions so far. Do you have anything else to add?
I think that's it for now. No, so the next episode, let's talk about. I think this is the level 4 of digital transformation.
Oh, okay.
So after business process automation, then the next step is digital performance management.
That's
Actually,
fun.
that's the digital performance management is like the main objective in your digitization, diba? The digital business performance management is the ultimate objective. No, imagine if you're the
Okay.
business owner, you have your mobile phone,
Yeah.
and then you can see everything from charts, bar graphs,
Mm,
even suggestions from the software, what to do
mm-mm.
with your business. Then
Right.
that's it. It's just a quick episode, and yeah, I'm looking forward to that next week.
Yeah, me too. Okay, guys, thank you so much for tuning in today's episode. If it's your first time, welcome. And don't forget to subscribe wherever platform you're consuming this from. Comment down below any questions you have about this topic or any other suggestions you have that you want us to talk about. And yeah, thank you. And we'll see you on the next episode.
Yeah, thank you so much again, DX Your Life in Business. Have a great day.